Hello YouTube. Today we're gonna talk about emulation with Windows PCs. I'm not going to cover Linux and Raspberry Pi since I don't know how to use Linux, and Raspberry Pi I haven't tried Raspberry Pi since I don't got that kind of computer experience, as well as Raspberry Pi. It can be cheap, but we're going to cover that some other day. But now on the PCs. PCs has been around for a very long time, and you can pretty much run emulation since the Windows 95, 98 maybe. But we're going to talk about XP. You can as well use Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, like these two are, or Windows 10, like this tablet. This one was really cheap. It's a Windows XP computer. It was like 10 euros, so it's pretty much the cheapest alternative ever, I think. You can buy like a stick like this. It costs around 70 euros, and this Windows 10 tablet was like brand new second hand, pretty much customer return for 40, and this was 240 euros. So with the cheapest PC, you pretty much you can get an old laptop or something. Then you might as well get the screen with it, or you can get this one. Biggest issues with old PCs are that they can be kind of dangerous to use, since they are very prone and very sensitive for virus and something like that. But if you only gonna emulate, these are perfect. You can pretty much run most emulation up to Nintendo 64. I don't recall if I played Nintendo 64 on this one, but everything else, the retro system works. So additional cost for this one is usually just the USB to original controller adapter, or just an USB controller. So it's super cheap to get starting. Well, you might as well need a TV for it, but hopefully you got that LCD or something that supports VGA, or in this case it doesn't have DVI. The next step is like this tablet for like 40 euros. The biggest issue with this, it's only got one plug, so you can only plug in the one controller. About this one, it's a 1 gig of RAM and a quad-core processor, and the 1 gig of RAM really limits the system, and also it's very compact, so it's going to be very sensitive to heat. So that's another problem when stuff gets really heated. The system might an emulator start lagging. That's what happened to this one, but we're gonna cover that soon. And also 1 gig of RAM is also very much stressing the system all the time, even though you're not doing anything special. So this one was pretty much a fun test, but try to avoid Windows 8 and Windows 10 with 1 gig of RAM. And this one was like 70 euro brand new. It's a compute stick with 2 gigs of RAM and 32 gigabytes internal storage. This one at least has 2 USB ports, so you can plug in a mouse, Wi-Fi stick, or USB controller, whatever you want to do with it. But this one, the issue with this one is when I was running SNES 9X, it started to overheat, and the sad part is I can do screen half the screen with 4K video and running like heavy commercial commercial based websites, but with SNES it's got so hot that the emulator starts stuttering as well at the Game Boy Advance, and that's a big issue. Not only with just Windows sticks, it's like with the same with the Android stick I got. So try to this one, it's okay, but also these seems to be rather expensive, but so it's okay, but try something else. I replaced this with a new. It's going comes in the mail, and it's cost like 80 euros. Got 2 gigs of RAM and 2 USB ports and external for like mini HDMI. So something like this might work for like portability and also stuff like that. This one is pretty much laptop. You got the screen, you got the keyboard, you got pretty much everything inside. This one is the cheap dual core Celeron with 8 gigs of RAM and 1 terabytes of classic mechanical discs. So for this one, works very very well. I don't have any issues with it. I played retro and Nintendo 64, so as well as like Motor Rock and stuff like that. On a 1 to 5 scale, 1 is the easiest, 5 is the hardest. I would say 1. This is super easy to get starting, and it's an emulation overall is perfect. I would say it's as perfect as emulation goes, and it runs smooth. You had to make some adjustments inside the menus, but you can try different things depending on your computers. And issues, if you're using an old system, you might have issues with viruses, and you have to add cost like antivirus. For old PCs, you can play old PC games, but you might not use the internet. New systems like this one, you can use the internet. You might have to provide some internet security and stuff like that, but you might not going to be able to play old games. So it really depends on what your budget is. But as far as if you ask me, I think PC is the way to go. There's so many options, like this one, super cheap, and I would say around 50 to 100 euros you can find some decent hardware to run your systems on. But you can go as low as under 50 euros easy, but it's with some limitations. But and also the costs. For sticks like this, you might have to add for SD cards and maybe a Wi-Fi adapter if you don't got the correct internet. But for this, you already got the everything with the storage and stuff like that. So you might just need to add the controllers. I wish I could talk about the Raspberry Pi, but in short, there are like 4-5 models of Raspberry Pi, some really cheap and some really expensive. And the more expensive one have got more powerful hardware, and pretty much they are the system to use. But as far as the Raspberry Pi goes, I haven't even tried, so I have to try that someday. But it's getting easier to just getting started with Raspberry Pi, so maybe someday I can get the energy to do that. But as far as emulation, PC is the way to go. I recommend it every day. So, but just beware of the cheaper hardware and the limitations with heat and system performance. So have that in mind. So try to find something that's suitable for your needs. But thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please ask them. And if you have any videos you want to share with me about what you think about this, please share. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day.